All right, Cole, I'll do my best here to try and get you pointed in the right direction with these 3 application questions. And this is something you got to make sure you know how to do. So as soon as you see something here about find the equation of a tangent line or a normal line, it's done the exact same way. To find the equation of any line, you need to find a point on the line, and you need to find the slope of the line. Slope is found using our limit definition, f of x plus h minus f of x, all divided by h, as the h value goes to 0. Your point, what is usually the case with these ones, they give you usually just the x value, and then you just have to fill the x value in here, and that'll tell you the y value at that point. So let's do that first. That's really easy. So when x is 1, fill 1 in for your x. So they call that f of 1 in this case. So it'll be 2 times 1 squared minus 8 times 1 plus 1. So you got 2 plus 1 is 3, 3 minus 8, so 9, minus 5. So 1 comma minus 5 is the point where the tangent line is going to be drawn to this curve. So then I need to use this formula. Well, to use this formula, f of x is given, so I'm going to fill f of x, the value of your function where you're drawing the tangent, that's going in here, but I need f at x plus h. So I'll figure that out first. Let's just do that here quickly. F at x plus h. You replace the x with x plus h. So it'll be x plus h squared minus 8 onto x plus h plus 1. So I'm going to tidy this up. So square the binomial, x squared plus 2xh plus h squared. Take away 8x, take away 8h plus 1, 2x squared plus 4xh plus 2h squared. Take away 8x, take away 8h, plus 1. So all of this is f of x plus h. All right, so we're going to go to this formula. This is used to find the slope of a tangent. That's what the formula is for. It is found by putting f at x plus h, so 2x squared plus 4xh plus 2h squared minus 8x, take away 8h plus 1, there's f at x plus h, right? Take away f of x, so that's the original function, 2x squared minus 8x plus 1. And that's all divided by h, as h goes to 0. Now if you do this properly, what should happen here is anything that doesn't have an h in it should disappear. So watch, 2x squared, take away 2x squared. They're gone. A negative 8x, and then a negative negative, that's a plus 8x. So that and that will wipe each other out. Plus 1, and then minus 1. So this, we'll get rid of this. That's gone. So if you look at this, now I'm left with the limit as h goes to 0. Notice every term that's remaining will always have an h in it. So you're going to factor that h out, and you're left with 4x plus 2h minus 8, all divided by h. Cross the h's out. H can now go to 0 without getting 0 over 0 anymore. So you actually put 0 in for the h, which means this term will become 0, leaving you with this answer. And this is your slope, so I'm going to call it m now. M equals 4x, I can't make out if that was plus or minus, minus 8. 4x, take away 8. So this is now a function that will give you the slope of the tangent to that parabola that we just did all the work out for here at any x value. You would fill in the x value. Well, we want to draw the tangent at the x value of 1. So I know that I'm going to fill in the x coordinate. So when x is 1, what I want to know is the slope of the tangent. So I put it in here. M equals 4 times 1 minus 8. So that gives me negative 4. So now I know this. I have 1 comma negative 5. That's my point. And I know that the slope of the line that you draw there, the tangent line, is going to be negative 4. What we need to do is get the equation. The equation is found using grade 10, y minus y1 equals m onto x minus x1. It's called the point slope formula. Fill in your y1, fill in your slope, fill in your x coordinate, and now just clean this up and put it in. I'm going to put it in standard form where the x, so I just multiplied by -4 in here. So in standard form you want your x to always be positive, so I'm going to move these two to the left. 4x plus y plus 1 equals 0. There's the equation of the tangent drawn to that function. Okay, that's number 3. Let's look at number 4. So number 4 says find the equation of the normal. It's done the exact same way. The only difference is when you find your slope, so you do all the same steps. When you get your answer here for slope, if it's a normal, it means it goes through the tangent at a right angle. So you just take the negative reciprocal of your slope. So let's set this one up. Let's start with our point first. So we'll find our point. Fill in -2 to get your y value. So 2 minus a -2, -2 plus 1 will give me 4 over -1. So the y coordinate is -4. So x is -2 and y is -4. There's my point. Next thing I need is slope. Well, the slope, we're going to use that same formula, so I'm going to need to know what f at x plus h is. 2 minus, when you substitute your x plus h, make sure you put it in brackets, like so. So wherever there's an x, I'm going to put x plus h in its spot. So wherever there's an x, replace it with x plus h. So now this will be 2. This negative is going to distribute through here and give me 2, take away x, take away h, over x plus h plus 1. On we go to our formula. Limit as h goes to 0, f at x plus h, 2, take away x, take away h, x plus h plus 1. So there's f of x plus h. Take away f of x, which was 2 minus x over x plus 1. All of that over h. So anytime you have fractions within a bigger fraction, hopefully you realize that that is always going to require us to get a common denominator. So we're going to take these two fractions in the top and make a common denominator, which would be the product of these two, x plus h plus 1 multiplied by x plus 1. So 2 minus x minus h. To get that denominator to become that denominator, I would have to multiply it by x plus 1. The second fraction, which is over 2 minus x right now, is over x plus 1. I want it to be over the product of these two, so I'd have to multiply it by x plus h plus 1. Now, rather than put this over h, what we do is we multiply it by the reciprocal, which is 1 over h. Okay, so this one's going to have a lot of expanding. I better move this over some. Because I got to multiply this trinomial through here. I got to multiply this binomial by this trinomial. So we're going to get a bunch of terms here. That's okay. Don't worry about that. Nothing too complicated. We just got to keep track of it all. So 2 times x, 2x. 2 times 1 plus 2. Minus x times x, minus x squared. Minus x times 1, minus x. Minus h times x, minus, let's put the h first. Minus hx. Minus h times 1, minus h. Now the key here, see this negative? That, when you multiply these, it has to go in brackets because the negative is going to go through all of these. So it's going to be 2x plus 2h plus 2, and then minus x squared minus xh minus x. So that's 2 times all of those, and then minus x times all of those. That's all over this denominator, x plus h plus 1, x plus 1, h is still going to 0, and then you still have your 1 over h, which we'll just kind of put out here at the end. Alright, so anything that doesn't have an h in it, we're hoping they're going to cross out. So let's 2x, take away 2x, perfect. Plus 2, take away this 2, those are going to cross out. A minus x squared, take away a minus, that's going to add x squared, that'll wipe out. minus x. This minus will go to here. That'll wipe that out. This will become minus xh, and this will also be minus hx, xh, same thing. So actually these are going to wipe each other out too. The only thing left in the whole numerator is negative h. So I'm going to rewrite this now. This is what I mean by a bunch of stuff crossed out. So all that mess, we're now down to just negative h over x plus h plus 1 onto x plus 1. Still have our 1 over h over here. And look at this. Gone. That's what was causing 0 over 0. This h is now going to go to 0 without any issue. And we'll get our slope. Our slope will be negative 1 over, now you're going to have x plus 1 times x plus 1. Remember, this is going to 0. So that's going to make it just x plus 1. So that's going to make this x plus 1 squared. Okay, so that's how I'm going to be able to figure out the slope. So we want the slope. I believe it's x is negative 2 this time. Yep, so our x value is negative 2. So at x is negative 2, the slope would be negative 1 over negative 2 plus 1 squared, which is negative 1 over, that's negative 1 squared, which is 1. Our slope is negative 1. Our point was negative 2 and negative 4. So point, negative 2 and negative 4. Slope, negative 1. Same formula we used last time. Y minus y1 equals the slope, x minus the x value. Y plus 4 is negative x minus 2. X is negative, let's move it this way. So x plus y, add 2 to this side, plus 6 equals 0. There's the equation of the straight line tangent that you would draw to that graph, whatever it looked like. We have no idea, it doesn't matter. It's done the same method every time. Now this one's a slight variation on that. This time, it says where on this curve, when you draw the tangent line, would it be parallel to the x-axis? Well, here's a graph. There's the x-axis. There's a line, sort of, parallel to the x-axis. Well, lines that run horizontal like this have slope of 0. Oops. So what I've given you here indirectly by saying this, I'm telling you the slope of your tangent has to be 0. We've done on your formative, I gave you a line here, something like, I don't know, 3x minus 2y plus 5 equals 0. And I said the tangent line is parallel to this line. So rather than saying the x-axis, I gave you some line. Well, then all you did is put this in y equals mx plus b, and your slope wouldn't be 0. It would be whatever the number is here in front of the x. That would be your slope, and you would make your slope equal to that. So the only thing different is you're still going to use this formula, the f at x plus h. When you get to the end of this here, rather than filling in an x value, you're going to fill in the slope, and you're going to figure out the x value, where you would get that particular slope. So let's see what that looks like. So we still need our slope function, which is, so I need my f at x plus h. Now it's a bit of a pain to do this one because you got to triple or cube a binomial. It's going to be x plus h cubed minus 3 onto x plus h. Well, to cube a binomial, you have to square it and then multiply it again by itself, unless you want to go back and do binomial theorem, which we don't want to do that. It takes too long. So let's expand this out. X squared plus 2xh plus h squared. X plus h. Take away 3x, take away 3h. Multiply this through now, and you're going to get x cubed plus x squared h plus 2x squared h plus 2xh squared. And now h squared times these, so that's plus xh squared plus h cubed minus 3x minus 3h. So all of this is f at x plus h. So to get your slope, it is the limit of this x cubed plus x squared h plus 2x squared h. I could have collected those, but it doesn't matter. We'll worry about that later. Plus 2xh squared plus xh squared plus h cubed minus 3x. It's 3h. So now subtract f of x, your original function, x cubed minus 3x. So there's f at x plus h. Take away f at x. All of that over h as h goes to 0. So if we do this right, x cubed, anything that doesn't have an h in it should disappear. Minus 3x, minus a minus 3x, gone. So look at all the terms that are left. So let's clean this up. Limit as h goes to 0. I could have collected these earlier. I'll do it now. So I've got 3x squared h. If I collect those two together, I've got 3xh squared. And then I've got plus h cubed, and I got minus 3h left, all over h. So as I said earlier, every term that remains will have to have an h in it, or else it's not going to work. This one does. That's a good sign. Limit as h goes to 0. Take out your GCF of h. 3x squared plus 3xh plus h squared minus 3. All divided by h. Those two h's will cross out. That'll fix your 0 over 0. H is still going to 0, so remember that means this term is going to go to 0 because 3x times 0 would be 0. This term is also going to go to 0. So your slope function is just going to be 3x squared, take away 3. Now, last question, we filled in the x value because they told us where they wanted us to draw the tangent, and we figured out the slope. This question, they tell you what they want you the slope to be. They told us in an indirect way that they want the slope of the tangent to be 0, which that means I'm going to put 0 in here. So 0 for m, 3x squared. I'm going to figure out where on the graph, so what x values will give me that slope. Bring your 3 over, divide by 3, divide by 3. 1 is x squared. Take the square root of both sides. This will now be plus or minus 1 is equal to x. It said coordinates, so now I want you to fill in 1 and fill in negative 1 into your function, which was y equals x cubed minus 3x. So if I fill 1 in here, 1 cubed is 1 minus 3 times 1 is 1 minus 3, so it's minus 2. And if I put negative 1 in here, I'll get negative 1 minus 3 times minus 1. That'll give me negative 1 plus 3. That'll give me a positive 2. So that means that at either of these 2 points, if you drew a tangent line, they would have a slope of 0, which means they'd be horizontal. All right, so that's the other variation on this. The main thing is you're able to do this f at x plus h, the whole slope thing, and then the rest of it really has nothing to do with calculus. It's more your understanding of coordinate geometry, which I know some of you need to work on and get a little better at. But in this case, if you're told the slope somehow, then you put it in for m, not for x, and you solve for the x value to give you that slope. Versus the last questions where I gave you the x value to use in order to figure out the slope. All right, cool. Hopefully these will help you. I know it's getting late, but definitely there are a couple of questions on there that model these. You got to make sure you know how to do them. Best of luck.